All right. It is time for a traveling Olympia trip traveling meal prep video. What I'm doing, how I'm staying prepared, how I'm staying on plan while I'm traveling here for the week at the Olympia. So what we got here, we got everything that is on my plan except pretty much one thing. Wait, maybe two things. Maybe three things. Yes, everything you see here is on my plan except cod, green beans, and spinach. I'll get into that later. Why? Well, I'll just get into that right now, actually. So first and foremost, when I'm traveling, except if I'm on prep, on the money, every single thing, I make sure that where I'm staying, I have a big enough fridge to store all my food sources. Second, when I'm traveling with where I'm at now, I have a small fridge. I don't have room to put all of the green beans, all the spinach and everything. And I don't have all the room to put all of my meal prep containers, which is what I'm gonna get into within this video, why I'm prepping this specific way. And three, I don't want my villa that I'm staying at to be smelling like fish, okay? So super simple, I'm just going to take the protein that's in my fish meals and I'm going to replace it with something else, a lean protein source. But anyway, guys, I want to kind of show you guys how simple this is, how simple it is to stay on plan when you're traveling. But first, I'm gonna show you what HOSSTILE hooked me up with because it's a pretty sick spot, y'all. All right, so hold on. All right, so we walk in, we got the kitchen, full kitchen here. That's the fridge. You know, it is small. It's not gonna fit an entire week's worth of meal prep containers, but we're gonna make do with what we got, and I'm gonna get into that in the video. Microwave, a bunch of cabinets to store all my stuff in, all my food stuff right there. We got a very nice living area here. Okay, I do my work right there. If I have any relaxation time, which I have not had any at all while I'm here. Got the TV, and pretty much the best part about this place, y'all, I just want to shout out HOSSTILE for hooking me up, is this freaking view. All right, guys, check this out. We have Lake Mead right there, or part of Lake Mead. And then we got the pool down there, the villa right here. And it's just an overall great vibe. Come out here, relax at night before I go to bed. And then coming back inside here, we got just the bathroom right there, which is massive. I got some of my clothes hanging up. Really nice shower. There's me. But anyway, y'all, let's get back to the video. Done showing you guys a tour. That's not what you guys are here for anyway. But let's get into it. Today's video is gonna be pretty damn simple, all right? I wanna make this as simple as possible for you guys, so you guys can see how easy it is to stay on plan when you're traveling, all right? So you don't have to have any excuses of why you're falling off plan when you're traveling and why you're eating out every single week, okay? It is so freaking simple, all right? So first and foremost, what I'm gonna be doing, I'm just gonna be getting my water heated up, all right? I'm gonna start off by cooking my rice first. So I like to get my water super hot first, okay? So I'm gonna be doing, for 2 cups of rice, 3 cups of water. But in the meantime, what I'm gonna be doing as I'm cutting up my chicken is going to be making my grass-fed beef, okay? 93.7 grass-fed beef. I have either beef or turkey in my plan. I'm gonna make this all in bulk, okay? So I was just using this pan a little bit ago to make my eggs on. Turn that on medium-high heat. Hit it with the non-stick. Ba, 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 ba. There we go. Probably a little bit too long, but I don't care. Get me a knife here. Open up this ground beef and just plop it right in there. Now, I have this little mini stovetop here, guys, which is what my Airbnb came with. Now, even though it's only 2 burners, you're still able to make this work with 2 burners. And if you're staying in a hotel, okay, that doesn't have a full kitchen, then guess what? You can go to Walmart and buy a hot plate and an air fryer. It's not that hard. And when you're done, clean it up and return it, okay? Bada bing, bada boom. I'm probably gonna be saying that a lot in this video. Okay, so I'm gonna be cooking 2 of these up just to save space in the fridge and have the other one once this is gone. Okay, perfect. Well, I just opened that one up, so I'm cooking 3, never mind. Yeah, that didn't go as planned, but hey, guess what? Nothing goes as planned, so you just gotta go with the flow. Rice is starting to boil. Cooking my 93.7 ground beef right now. I'm not gonna season this yet. I'm going to let this start to brown a little bit before it's fully browned, and then I'm gonna season it. So when I'm traveling, guys, all right, so I'm out here at the Olympia in Vegas for about 6 days, yes, 6 days. I wanna make sure that I'm staying on plan but I don't want to break the bank, okay? So I got all this stuff from Walmart. It's all on my plan. Is Walmart the best quality when it comes to meats, chicken, you know, fruits, produce, everything? No, not really, but it's whatever, okay? I'm making do with what I got. And also within this economy, prices are not where we want them to be. So I'm just making do with what we got. We got 2 cups of rice. Now, when I'm meal prepping, when I'm traveling, guys, I like fresh rice. I don't like taking rice and making a bunch of it, putting it in the fridge, always having to heat it up, and then it's starting to build up resistant starches over time, all right? And it starts to mess with my gut a little bit, okay? And I just like the texture of fresh rice. So I'm gonna make sure, I wanna make like 2-3 cups and then remake it. 2-3 cups and then remake it. I'll go through a bunch of rice and I'll just keep remaking it whenever I'm back at the crib. And I'll make sure that I have enough of it packed to take with me throughout the day, especially when I'm gonna be at the expo or team events. I'm not gonna make a bunch of rice all at once, you guys. I'm working with limited space in the little mini fridge, so I'm just gonna keep remaking rice whenever I start to get low. And tastes better that way. It's easier to digest, and it's easier for me to get down since I like the flavor of it better. Having to always, you know, thaw rice out from it being in the fridge, you know, building up resistant starches, which are not beneficial for you whatsoever. Right now, I am just making my meals 2, 3, and 5 right now. Okay, so meals 2, 3, and 5 are my meals where it is rice, veggie, meat. I don't have my veggies because I don't have enough space in my fridge. I got to the Airbnb, unpacked my stuff, saw what I had available to me in terms of kitchenware, in terms of storage, in terms of space in the fridge. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make do with what I got. I'm not going to worry about trying to squeeze in a bunch of spinach in there or having a bunch of meal prep containers. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be prepping everything in just these 2 containers. Well, actually 3 containers, okay? Because what I'm gonna do is when I need to leave, like tomorrow, I'm gonna be up early, I'm gonna go to the expo. We have a lot of stuff going on with HOSSTILE. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm up early enough to measure my food, weigh it out, put it in my meal prep containers, put it in my backpack, and I'm off and I'm good to go. Now, I would much rather do that than worry about stuffing the fridge full and then having potentially not enough space to store all my extra meals and having those sit out and then potentially those going bad. So that's how I'm gonna do things. It's so simple. I pull this out, bada bing, bada boom, weigh it, take my rice, boom, weigh it, put the cover on my meal prep container, and I'm good to go. It's not that hard. I literally can make a meal in a meal prep container in less than 45 seconds, put the cover on it, take my ketchup, put this in my bag, okay? And I'm set for the day. So now also too, when I'm making my ground beef in the off season, taco mix. This is the magical mix that I'm gonna be using for my meal prep. It tastes so damn good. And it's also super cheap. You get this for like 87 cents or something at Walmart. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water to it, stir it around a little bit more. So a little bit of my head was cut off there apparently when I was talking, so apologies for that. But like I said earlier, guys, my last meal of the night is spinach, cod, and oil, okay? Now, like I said, I don't have my cod with me. I don't want to stink up the villa. But also, I'm not a big fan of packing cod and eating it cold. So I'm just gonna replace it with egg whites. These are the liquid egg substitutes. I'm not a fan of these, to be honest, but this is all that Walmart had at the moment when I was shopping, so I got these. So it's just pure protein, okay? Are there better sources of protein out there? Yeah. But this is what I'm just gonna make do, all right? And this is what I'm gonna do for the end of the night for meal 5. Usually my meal 5 is always when I'm back here at the crib. So I'm just going to make sure I have plenty of rice prepped for that meal. And I'm gonna just quickly whip these up. Like you saw, I already had this pan being used, okay, right before starting this video. And that's how I'm going to substitute my cod when I'm traveling for a week like this at the Olympia. But I'm gonna make sure that my macros, my protein macros, are almost exact or close to the numbers of what it would be on my plan with cod. Now, when I'm traveling, you guys, it is a must for me to bring protein powder. I have protein in my post-workout meal, okay? So in these baggies, I have blueberry donut, ISO H1. Blueberry donut is the, you guys just gotta try it. It is such an amazing flavor. But, you know, with travel restrictions, space, with the clothes that I was packing, with the other supplements, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna save a lot of space if I just take as many servings as I need for the week, according to my plan, and put it in baggies. super simple, and it saves a lot of space. It's not heavy. You're not bringing around a jug everywhere you go. So I made sure to, I already went through one of the bags, so I just make sure to bring enough protein that's on my plan, put it in bags, and I'm good to go, and it takes up almost no space. You know, I sometimes think to myself, like right now, I'm really grateful that I have the Airbnb that I'm staying at right now for the week, okay? And I'm really grateful that it has a full kitchen, all right? Full kitchen-ish. Well, actually it does, because this is a little mini dishwasher. You know, I have 2 burners right here, and I'm making do with what I got in terms of my space in the fridge. But sometimes I just think to myself, I mean, like, you know, as a coach, and I coach a lot of people that travel for work, okay, whether they are competitors or lifestyle clientele. And a common question that I get asked is, Nick, when I'm traveling, what do I do? And I just tell them, I'm like, okay, when you're traveling, we're gonna make do with what we got, just like how I'm doing, what you guys see me doing here. What I want you to do, if your Airbnb or your hotel doesn't have cooking supplies or just has a microwave, is I want you to go to Walmart and I want you to buy the cheapest air fryer that you can find, and I want you to buy the cheapest rice cooker, and I want you to buy the cheapest hot plate, depending on, you know, what's on their plan. If they're, you know, doing macros, if they're on a meal plan. There's some of my clients where I'm like, hey, you know, when you're traveling, we're gonna do a macro-based approach, you know, and those are the clients where I trust them enough, where they know and well enough about using a chronometer, you know, app to make sure that they are hitting their macros as close as possible. But they also know, you know, what food sources sit well with them, you know, good food sources. They're not filling their macros with bullshit like Skittles and chocolates and, you know, a bunch of crap. But, you know, but it's one of those things where it's like, when you're traveling for an extended period of time and you can't pack your meals with you, maybe you can pack them for maybe just one of the days when you're traveling, then buy the things necessary from a grocery store and then return them. Okay, there's probably gonna be people in the comments who are like, why would you return something if it's used already? Walmart doesn't make their money from air fryers. Walmart does not make their money from groceries. Walmart makes their money from their stock and their investors and all that stuff, okay? So it's just one of those things where work the system that way, okay? So, but it's like one of those things where work with what you got, and it literally just goes to show how bad you want it, okay? I remember being told by Ben when I first got sponsored by HOSSTILE, when I did my first event with HOSSTILE, he's like, hey man, this is where you're staying. And I'm like, hey, is there a kitchen in the hotel? And he's like, nope, me and Luke would always do this when we were traveling and there was no kitchens. We would get air fryers, we would prep for shows, travel for shows with hotels that did not have any kitchen supplies, and we still made it work. You know, and I remember that to this day when Ben told me that, and I think that was back in 2021 or 2022, because honestly guys, it comes down to how bad you want it. Seriously, like, are you going to complain, you know, that you can't change your circumstances with work because you're traveling? You know, well, first off, be grateful that you have a job and you're able to travel and, you know, to different places, depending on whatever your job duties may be. But second, like, are you going to complain, or are you going to actually change your situation by getting a few things, spending some money, and then going to return it to get that money back, and making sure that you're staying on plan and achieving your goals at the same time? Okay, like, there's too much complaining going around, and it's so freaking annoying, where it's like, yo, just with a little bit more effort and problem solving skills, people would be much better off when it comes to achieving their goals, when they are in a little bit of a pickle when traveling or circumstances may not be ideal for them. All right, so the ground beef is almost done. Now, as I was talking, I definitely could have been cutting up the chicken and preparing that, but I just kind of want to have a little bit of dialogue in here instead of it just being a voiceover or just a video of you guys watching me cook. So obviously, for the sake of dishes, I'm gonna just use this spatula for the beef that I'm just gonna stir the rice with, okay? Rice is almost done, probably has, maybe like 5 more minutes, 8 more minutes, something like that. When it comes to some of the food sources in my meal plan in the off season right now, I mean, pretty much the same food I'm eating in the off season is what I eat in prep, but I do have a little bit more variety, and I have free meals available to me, okay? But when it comes to my breakfast meal, my breakfast is cream of rice, okay? When I'm traveling, I get the orange box. When I'm at home, I get Flavor Gang flavored cream of rice. Absolutely love it. Our podcast is sponsored by them. Shout out Ross, he's a great guy. Now, my breakfast meal is chicken, eggs, cream of rice, and blueberries And sometimes I'll throw in a couple raspberries on top because why not? I absolutely love them. But I'll make sure that if I throw in a little bit of raspberries, you know, it's not too much. It's not like a triple serving of blueberries and then, or double serving of blueberries and raspberries. But I'm not gonna prep my breakfast meals. You guys know how easy cream of rice is to make. So tomorrow when I get up, I gotta be up at 5:30, do my cardio, come back here, clean up, shower up, gather my meals for the day, be at the expo early, and then be with HOSSTILE, do the stuff with Samson, Martin, meet up with Fuad, and make sure that I have stuff available to me. So I'm making sure that I have everything ready to go tonight. But tomorrow morning, I can make my breakfast meal. I can make my cream of rice. I can fry my eggs, take my chicken, put it in a container or put it on a plate and eat that in the vehicle as I am traveling to go downtown, okay? Super simple. I'm not gonna pack my cream of rice, but when I am, like let's say I'm traveling and I am busy throughout the day and I just gotta wake up and get out of the house after my cardio is done. And I know that where I'm going to be for that day, I have a microwave available to me. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my cream of rice, weigh it, and put it in a bag. I'm gonna take my fruit, weigh it, put it in a bag. Same thing with my chicken. And then my eggs, I'll just hard boil them the night before, take those, toss them in Tupperware or whatever. It's that simple. Like, it's literally that simple. It's one of those things where you do not overcomplicate it, especially in the off season when you know maybe you have a lot more stuff going on in the off season than when you do in prep. But also make your food taste good in prep, okay? Or make your food taste good in the off season. Sugar-free syrup. I use a little bit of this on some of my meals because I have a very sensitive stomach to artificial sweeteners. No sugar added. Ketchup, perfect. Also, pickles. These are a must for when I'm traveling because when I train legs, I almost always cramp the night after I train legs. And my adductors cramp. So I always have pickles to drink pickle juice and have some pickles if I cramp in the middle of the night. Okay, so my ground beef is done. My rice is almost done as well. I'm gonna double check that. I like to strain my ground beef and my ground turkey. So I'm gonna take my container. Now when I'm traveling, I'll use plastic. I almost always use Pyrex because I feel like it keeps my food more fresh and you're not getting all the plastic seeping into your food and all those chemicals and stuff. But I'm going to take my ground beef, I'm gonna put it in this container. Now, like I said, I like to strain my ground turkey and my ground beef. So instead of always trying to transfer it and dirtying up new dishes and blah, 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 what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this in here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my container and I'm just going to prop it up on something. By me taking my container, okay, and just finding something to prop it on, I'm just gonna use these rags, okay? It's going to take all of the fat and it's going to bring it down to the corner. And you can just see it just conjugating right down there. And I'm just gonna let it sit there for a couple of minutes, okay? I'm gonna let it sit before I strain it. Now, I'm gonna start with my chicken. When it comes to making my chicken, I really like to air fry my chicken, but I also really like to take my chicken and cook it in an Instapot, and I slow cook it and it just shreds perfectly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here though, is to make my chicken taste as good as possible. Yeah, cooking in here I get really warm, so I was literally, before starting this video, I was freezing. So I had my HOSSTILE zip up on, and then midway through cooking, I am just sweaty as hell. But you guys know me, I'm always sweating. So obviously not the best quality chicken, but we do with what we got right now. And it's protein, okay? So I'm just gonna trim the heavier fat off and some of the gristle. So I grew up on a farm, y'all, and I have been butchering livestock since I was a very young age, since I was like about 9 years old, okay? So I'm also very used to wild game, and I'm very used to the chickens and ducks and turkeys that we would raise to be very good quality meat. And it was very lean. It just tasted so damn good. So I like my chicken to be a little bit leaner, okay? But also I think it just tastes a little bit better and I'm not chewing on all this gristle, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pan, hit it with some nonstick, bop, 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 bop. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to fillet this with this serrated knife, which is not the best, or sorry, I'm gonna try to butterfly it, which is not the best knife to use to butterfly. I'm gonna do the same with this one here. All right, so I was interrupted because my card was full, so I had to change the card on the camera, so I'm not sure where I ended up talking, but I have one of these these butterflies on my pan. I'm gonna spray my pan a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just gonna take these and I'm going to lay them on this pan like so. I wanna make sure they cook evenly, so I'm not gonna put all of them on there at once. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a nonstick and I'm gonna spray them over the top, just like that. Take my smoky mesquite seasoning, and then I'm going to sprinkle that on top. Good. Now, as my chicken is cooking, I'm going to strain my beef here. So I'm going to take the lid and I'm going to not cover it, but I'm going to pinch it so there's a slight crack. Hold it over the sink, and you guys can see how simple and how easy that is. I'm not losing any beef at all as I do this. Shake it a little bit to get some more out. Okay, I'm just gonna let this cool all the way before I put it in the fridge, just like that. Super simple. Like that was the easiest thing ever. Time to flip my chicken. Like that. So as the chicken is cooking, I kind of just want to give you guys a little bit of a rundown of some of the other foods that I'm eating. Now, right now, I just thought I'd switch up my fat source in my post-workout meal and my breakfast meal, my meal one. It is usually almond butter. I prefer almond butter. Today at the grocery store, I didn't want to look through which almond butter I wanted to get, so I just grabbed the cheapest peanut butter that I could find. Great value creamy peanut butter. Not the best, you know, because when you look in the ingredients, you got peanut sugar, contains 2% or less of hydrogenated vegetable oil. I like to have as little ingredients in my food sources as possible. But this is one that I grabbed and I'm making do with it, and hell, it tastes good. Tomorrow, the only time I'm gonna be probably back at the Airbnb is the morning when I wake up, and then when I get back at the end of the night. So I'm gonna be bringing peanut butter with me so I can have this added to my post-workout meal. I digest food very quickly. My body takes carbs in my post-workout window, sucks it right up into the muscle, and the fats slow down the digestion just a little bit so I don't go hypo, okay? So when I take it with me, I'm just gonna make sure I have my food scale with me so I can weigh it out, plop that right in my post-workout cream of rice and weigh, bada bing, bada boom. Make sure I bring my weigh with me, make sure I bring a bag of cream of rice with me, and I'm good to go. Almost all gyms have a microwave. If they don't, maybe ask if maybe they have one in the back. But I'm just gonna do that. Olive oil, I'm gonna use olive oil on a couple of my meals as well. I'm gonna either take olive oil with me, which I don't do very often, or I'm just going to measure this out and put it in my meals the morning before I leave for whatever events I got going on throughout the day, and make sure it's measured out, add it to my meal, put it in my backpack, I'm good to go. So if you haven't noticed already, I have not taken my rice out of the pan. That's because I know that this amount of rice, I'm gonna go through all of it tomorrow. So tomorrow morning when I pack my meals, I'm just going to take it right from here, put it in my meal prep containers, take this, toss it in the sink, soak it in water, so then when I get back tomorrow night, I can just make a new batch of rice and it's ready right away the next morning to rinse and repeat. And it just tastes more fresh that way. All right, chicken is done. Oh yeah, she done. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, this corner was pretty clean, okay? Well, so I think, to be honest. But before I start cutting my chicken up, I wanna wash this because remember, there was raw chicken on this. You don't wanna get sick. No, sir. Fuad would be mad at me if I got sick and I missed out on my obligations as an athlete. Well, he wouldn't be mad, but you know, it would just really suck. But he would totally understand. But it's something that I can avoid entirely, but also nobody wants food poisoning, guys. So wash your stuff, make sure it's sanitary. All right, I've had salmonella and it is the worst thing I've ever had to deal with before. All right, so I got my meal prep container here. I'm gonna take a knife that has only touched my cooked chicken. All right, cut my chicken up. Pretty much just, these serrated knives aren't very good with cutting, so it's just gonna be pretty much tearing the chicken up. All right, now I can just take this in the meal prep container and I can just toss these, the breast in the meal prep container by itself. You can totally do that, but this is just an easier, quicker way for me to scoop the chicken out, weigh it out, and have a little bit more accurate weights. Instead of me just trying to tear off little pieces and toss big chicken breasts in the thing and then, you know, chomp on that with a fork. Hopefully the camera does not die, by the time I finish up with this, but I will see you guys when this is completed. All right, and just like that, my meal prep is done. So I made sure everything was seasoned. My seasoning does have sodium in it. In the off season, I'm not trying to stray away from sodium at all. Sodium is good for you, but I always use iodized sea salt. Iodine is a necessary nutrient for your body, and especially with thyroid as well. So I always put some iodized sea salt on my meals. And then I'm going to make sure that tomorrow morning, okay, you guys, so I have my ground beef all prepped, my chicken all prepped. I have my rice all prepped. This rice is going to last me the entire day tomorrow. Probably, honestly, I should have probably made more, but whatever, I'll make more tomorrow. But what I'm gonna do is tomorrow morning after cardio, I'm gonna make sure I come back. I'm gonna make sure that I take my 3 meal prep containers that I'm going to be consuming while I'm away for the entire day, which is going to be meal 2, my pre-workout meal, meal 3, my post-workout meal is going to be meal 4 with cream of rice, some added fats, and my ISO H1 blueberry donut. And then meal 5, which is going to be the same thing. I'm either gonna use chicken or my egg beaters for that meal as well. And then I'm going to make sure that when I'm making those meals, meals 2 and meals 5 has my added fats in it. So I'm gonna pour that into there as well, obviously measuring that as well. But that's how simple it was, you guys. That took me less than an hour to prep in bulk, and I just take it out, weigh it out, put it in my meal prep container, and I'm good to go. And I'm just gonna make sure in my backpack, I bring my ketchup, my salt, and I bring anything else that I need, like my cream of rice, my peanut butter. I'm not gonna bring olive oil tomorrow, and my whey protein. You guys, I hope you learned something from this video. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not too hard. That was extremely easy. So when you're traveling, there's no excuse not to slip up. Okay, like I said at the beginning, use those tips that I said in the beginning. Use the tips that I've said within my reels and within this video of making your food taste good by using seasonings like the Weber Grill Smoky Mesquite, and also adding calories and in small enough amounts with literally 0 volume, with oils, healthy fats. This is going to help your cholesterol values as well. Olive oil is very good for your lipids. And just make your food taste good in the off season, okay? When you're in the off season and you get to a point where you just don't want to eat because you don't like the way your food tastes, then spruce it up a little bit. Don't make your food go from bland and healthy to super flavorful and unhealthy junk, okay? But just use some of the tips that I've said in this video to within your own plan, within your own meal prep strategies, things like that, so you can make sure that you're having a successful off season. Because I preach this until I am blue in the face as a coach. You win your shows in the off season, guys. Have a structured off season. Treat your off season like a prep. Get coached in the off season so that you know that whoever's doing your training and your nutrition and your supplements, that it's going to keep pushing you to an advantageous position and get you to the position where you need to be. Okay, so because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So to get a different result, do something different, be held accountable in the off season, do your meal prep in the off season when you're traveling, especially if you're traveling for work or different events, whatever it may be, or even if you work from home, still meal prep if that's easier for you. So I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to get the fall sale, fall drop, and the deals on the TikTok shop, in my TikTok showroom and the HOSSTILE TikTok shop, because you're gonna save some money on there, you guys, trust me. Not just like a couple dollars, but you're gonna save some good money. With that, I'm out of here. Got a long day with the team tomorrow. Samson and Martin are gonna absolutely kill it. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out.